5, 16, 19, 21, 33, and 10. Check results. You remember?
A podcast today, number 5, and my nose. If you're on video option, we're having a bad nose day. People get bad hair days. They get mainly bad hair days is the go-to one. And look, my hood is also up, so it's not really a bad hair day. It's more just not combing your hair. So like, I think there's a difference to be said between that. It's not like, oh yeah, just can't really get it to fall in the right way. Like, oh, my curtains aren't really hitting like they usually do. No, it's just not looked after. Whereas a bad nose day, I'm acne ridden, and the nose very susceptible to spots. And without getting gross, you've seen the TikToks. My nose can get pretty. Anyway, let's move on. This is disgusting. Anyway, but yeah, very red looking nose. But hey, it's in the Christmas spirit. Like Rudolph, like a red nose. She gon' shit. Okay. I wanted to start somewhere, but where? I don't remember where. You know what we could start with? I was thinking about this earlier. Because people I know, recently went to go see Avatar. James Cameron's second out of 3 billion Avatar. This one being The Way of Water, which is all about, as you know, people try to attack their home and they protect their home. And that's the movie. And it's 3 hours of that. And like, people think, right, oh, you don't like being contrarian. I don't get being contrarian. Like, there's some things, like, I get it to an extent. I think like Stranger Things is a good example. The Boys, like when they first came out, I didn't watch them straight away. I jumped into Stranger Things. Maybe it was like 2 seasons were already out, and no one was really talking about it because it was between seasons. And then The Boys, I only watched recently and binged the whole 3 seasons. There is something about seeing a new thing everyone's talking about all over Twitter and not wanting to jump into it or just writing it off a little bit, and then go into it when no one's really talking about it. That's kind of being contrarian, not liking things that are really popular at the time. Or like there's been times where you find a new podcast, you listen to it and you love it and it's great, but they're really small and no one's really listening to it. And then all of a sudden, within like a couple months of you listening to them, they blow up and everyone's listening, and you're kind of like, this isn't, I kind of like, but this is different. This is just the issue isn't, oh, now I don't like it because everyone likes it, or vice versa. It's more just that, oh, I still like this, as I did before, but I wish it was still mine. It's more being selfish, if anything. It's more of a different toxic trait. Whereas I just don't understand why anyone would want to be contrarian or like things people don't like. It's frustrating. I shouldn't really care, and I haven't seen Way of Water, but I was willing it to be bad. Why? Why does that bother me? I don't know, but I'm willing it to be bad. And when I say to be bad, I mean for other people to find it bad, because there's just big popular things in this world that people like and I just don't. And it's just so weird how people can have such different opinions on the exact same thing. It's just like, why? Like Avatar, I just don't get. I get it's a technical thing. I get it's a technical feat. It's like, oh wow, this is cool and wacky and good. And Marvel movies are only deteriorating when it comes to their visuals. And the Avatar probably is so good that Marvel can't even hold a candle to it, probably in the way it looks. But just the characters and the story, it's just so basic and samey, and it doesn't deserve a 3-hour time thing. And the fact it's the fact, you know what it is? It's the fact it's the biggest, highest grossing movie in the world. And I just don't understand it. It's like this weird movie where it's not like the cast is exceptional or anything. Like they got some good actors in there, but the main cast is just like sort of okay. That Unobtainium. The second one, from everything I've heard and all the reviews I've watched, it follows the exact same structure, but this time they got the element of family in there. So they've added some Fast and Furious isms in there. To just an extra layer. Now he's got a family. It's like it's not like they've done anything extremely wild here. It's sort of the classic thing to do. You make your second movie. This time they have kids. You know what I mean? But apart from that, it's just the same thing. He's out in the jungles that float, whatever they're called, Pandora, and the people are coming to destroy it for the resources. And now he's in the water doing the same. And maybe it looks great, but I just don't. And it's not enjoyable. Is what I'm saying. It's not enjoyable. I would obviously much rather love Avatar. Like, being in on it and loving it and having the same opinion is easy because you get to give those opinions and everyone agrees with you more or less. And it gets kind of boring, I guess, because you're all regurgitating the same shite. But at least we're regurgitating together. That's image. That's a real image I just painted. Because there's certain opinions, Avatar being one, and I can see that being the type of thing that's only going to get worse and worse with Avatar in like the coming years, and it might even rival the main issue, the main one I have, which is Lord of the Rings. I don't get it. I've tried to watch it. It's long. Again, it's not one of these long epics that people just eat up. And it's just boring. It's like, oh, but the drone shots aren't drone shots. They didn't have drones back then, so they had to film it of a helicopter. And it's actually really impressive, actually. And you actually just don't understand it. And you actually would, if you actually just turned your brain on. Like, what's there to not understand? You know, it's not like I watch Parasite or like one of these high critically acclaimed films. I know Lord of the Rings was like critically acclaimed. It's one of those only like types of movies to get Best Picture or whatever. Did it win or was it just nominated? I'm not sure. But it's more that it's those films. It's like, okay, I get how someone could watch that and then you could just sort of complain and be like, oh, the subtitles and this and that. And someone could be like, oh, you just didn't get it. That would still be pretentious as fuck to say. Like, okay, man. But at least it would kind of come from a place that makes sense. This is just some little fucking fantasy elf movie running around at orcs. There's a ring. Everyone wants the ring because the ring's like a powerful thing. They've got to get it to a place to destroy the ring. Like, it's not the type of thing where you don't understand it. But if you say you don't like Lord of the Rings, and I'm saying this from experience of being someone who has openly said, and I know this is like a controversial bit that I have, but openly said, yo, I don't like Lord of the Rings on this multiple times, and just berated, bombarded, whichever one, by people just being like, you don't get it. Too stupid, don't understand it, you're a fool, this is the masterpiece, this is Tolkien's absolute masterpiece, this is art. Like, you're allowed to go to the Louvre and look at the Mona Lisa and be like, pretty bland, man. You can do that, like, sure, there'll be shroves of people around you and you won't even get close enough to even say it. You'll probably be right at the back with like your phone zoomed all the way and try and even get a picture of it. It gets so busy in there. And it's the most famous like painting in the world, the Mona Lisa. We've all seen it, but it's art. You know, it's not good or bad. I don't care how long it took or how quick it took or what the intent was behind it when you made it. I can still go there and look at it and be like, you know what? Nah, not for me. But people who do like it will just get offended. But you don't get it. Well, actually, if you try to take these things into account, you might like it. Or actually, if you understood the intent, maybe you'd like it. And that's another annoying thing. Intent and execution or perception, is that the right word? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, if you watch a film and you're like, oh, they do like a Dutch angle or something, and like, oh, I didn't like that. That was jarring. I didn't like that. And then someone will tell you, well, actually, no, you're wrong because the director done this angle because it was meant to convey this and mean this, and he did it for this reason, and it actually means that. So you're wrong. It's like, no, I'm not wrong. You just explain to me why they've done it. I still don't like it. I still don't like the execution. I still don't like it. It visually still doesn't do it. Okay, that's why. Fair enough. There was a reason. I still don't like it. And it's like, I can't do anything about this. I've been burdened by the fact I don't like Lord of the Rings and people love it insanely. And it's like anything. It gets a fan base, a toxic fan base, and they just can't accept that not everyone on the planet Earth will like their thing. And Avatar might soon become one of those things. Hopefully not. The Lord of the Rings things, if you like that genre of film, fair enough. It's not like I hate Lord of the Rings, but I love Game of Thrones or something else that kind of... Game of Thrones is... But you know what I mean? Something else in that kind of lane. I just don't really like any films in that lane. So if that helps, that I don't like the genre, that probably helps too. It's like I don't like horror movies. So the best horror movies out there, I'm not gonna like those either. Probably. I'm talking about like actual horror movies, not like stuff, not like Nope or things with horror elements. Um, but yeah, man, Lord of the Ring. I just find it. I find it boring. I'm sure it was had a bunch of technical feats at the time. I've watched the videos in school and stuff. I've seen, you know, the way they filmed it, and the big and little characters, and the shots they did, and beautiful landscapes. I don't really find big empty fields beautiful. I prefer cityscapes when it comes to landscapes for me. That's again just a personal thing. I don't look at a big green field and be like beautiful. It's like maybe something peaceful about it. And it was shot out in New Zealand, the most like beautiful places in the world or whatever. But it just doesn't do it for me. It doesn't do it for me. And even if I did find them really beautiful, it doesn't mean I'm going to sit there for 3 hours and still be like, oh, it's great because of that. Yeah, it's captured the world, and I'm unfortunately one of the people who is just not into it. It doesn't help as well when the films you do like aren't perceived in like a great way. So it doesn't help when they say, okay, fine, you don't like Lord of the Rings. Well, what do you like? And then you have to sit there and be like, well, I really liked Infinity War. You know what I mean? You're just gonna get laughed out the room. But Infinity War's sick. My favourite films of all time, Infinity War. A Spider-Man film would have to be in there somewhere. Ratatouille. You see what I mean? you see the issue here. The Truman Show. That's a classic. Tick Tick Boom was really good. So a couple of years ago. Dune was really good. Don't know if that'd be my favourite of all time, but Dune was good. Whiplash was good. Top Gun Maverick was pretty good. That came out recently. School of Rock. That's the film I've probably seen most of my life. But yeah. But, you know, if you're not saying something like Shawshank Redemption or Lord of the Rings or, you know, stuff like that, it's just, you know, like everyone's going on about everything ever all at once. And that's probably why I haven't seen it yet, but I probably will next year, and then I can give my opinions on that. Because that looks like a bit of fun, maybe. And apparently, it's executed the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, what they were going for, 10 times better, which wouldn't be hard because that movie sucked balls. I spoke about that for a long, long time, 12 minutes. Wow. It was kind of like, no one started on me, by the way. No, it's not like I recently just got out of an argument where someone told me I was stupid for not liking Lord of the Rings, and now I had to like vent. I can turn it on like that, like a switch, and just ramble about how I hate that because I'm ready to go with that opinion at any point. Same way, like another thing like that for me, iPhone, Apple, the company itself, even though I have one, just I'm not going to. I'm not even installing it or explaining what about it even irritates me because I won't stop. And I got football to watch. I got Christmas football to see, which is probably going to depress me. Chelsea versus Bournemouth. It should be a game we easily win, and that's why it's going to depress me. Nothing. What was the other thing I wanted to say? Oh yeah, kind of in a similar vein, still of like films and stuff, but like, okay, so you can get laughed out the room for having a favorite film everyone hates or thinks is meh, and having a least favorite film that everyone loves. But in a more like less just getting laughed at the room for having a bad take, like you could be like if you were big enough online, you would be cancelled for certain opinions on like actors, right? Problematic actors. Oh, he's a problematic fave, bestie, right? Not so. Let's cut this shit. Let's stop beating around the bush. Let's stop beating around George Bush, shall we? Let's just get into the nitty gritty. Shia LaBeouf or LaBeouf? Shia LaBeouf. I'm gonna say Shia LaBeouf. Am I? Yeah, I'm gonna go LaBeouf. I would say in my like top favorite actors in there, Shia LaBeouf just gets in there for me. He's a phonetic, a certain je ne sais quoi. That's literally, you know, I can't describe it more than that. When he's on screen, I love it. Also, the kind of issue is when it comes to anyone in like an art field when it comes to people I like. So that's like across films or music or like YouTube or podcasts, whatever. I can't just like the shit they put out, so I can't just like the music or the films or whatever. I have to also kind of like the people behind it. And when I hear him talking in interviews, like he just has this certain quality about him that's very unique in the way he speaks, like funny but not trying to be or whatever. And just always been one of my favorites. And there's now, yes, as I said, a problematic fave. Because you could, I know there's the whole separate the art from the artist, but you can't go around being like, yo, Shia LaBeouf is like my favorite actor these days, because it's 2022 and you'll be chucked out of the room, man. You go around saying you really like Shia LaBeouf, you're looking forward to his future venture, because it's not only just separating art from the artist. You can kind of say that more when the artist is dead, because then they're not gaining like financially or like clout wise off it. But it's like, it's bullshit. It's not fair, because when you think about it, actors, there's a lot of problematic ones and a lot of people doing fucked up stuff, and it's obviously a bunch of celebrities get away with a bunch of things us normal folk wouldn't, but none more so than in music. And like what's the biggest genre? Arguably like pop, isn't it? Because that's the stuff in the charts. But rap is huge, is what I'm trying to get at. And like every fucking rapper, like everyone, nearly, not everyone, that's not true, but they've all done fucked up shit. And whether they've like literally killed someone or just like, even in low levels, so which isn't a crime, but you're like people wouldn't think you're a good guy if but you're like a serial cheater. You're not committing a crime, but nearly every rapper is guilty of that. You know what I mean? And if you was like an actor and you was like some serial cheater, or like say you were a bit of a drunk or like a bit of an addict, or you beat up your wife, Chris Brown. That's what I'm saying. And that was like so concrete, and the evidence to go along with it. Like it's not like an allegedly type thing either. And then no one just gives a fuck. Everyone's like, oh, we can't wait for Chris Brown's show. No one cares anymore. It's just like, oh, everyone loves Chris Brown, and Chris Brown's like one of the biggest people in the world still. And if Chris Brown did like another tour or something, or put out another album or whatever, people will be all over that. People just like Chris Brown. If Chris Brown was an actor and then he was like, oh, Chris Brown's like, oh, whoa, he's fucked up. Like, I just want, Shia LaBeouf's just one of my favorite. I know he shot dogs, and I have a dog. I don't. That's not cool. And it was DNFK Twigs, and she accused him of a lot of shit, and he didn't deny a lot of that shit. He was like, I'm sorry, man. When I'm trying to improve like that, or whatever. That's not how he sounds. Can we get the accent going actually? And I got demons. I'm fucked up. That's not good. But I don't know. You can have let's normalize problematic faves. It's fine. We don't know these people personally, and I'm not like directly putting the money in their pocket. And I didn't commit any of the crimes they actually did. I'm just enjoying some media. I'm just watching the film. At the end of the day, I'm just listening to some music. You know what I mean? Should it be that bad if I want to watch Shia LaBeouf's next film? I get it. He ain't the best guy. I don't support what he did, but I like the artwork, man, and I want to watch it. I ain't the judge. I ain't the court dude. I'm not just deciding if he gets time or fined or whatever, or if he should be cancelled and not be able to ever work again. I just like the stuff, and that's just something I can't help. I want me to sit here and lie and pretend because it's like the right woke thing to do. Should I? Does this make me a bad person? I don't know. Maybe that's a selfish take. Holes was really good. No, it was though. Honey Boy. Even Stevens. Classics. Peanut Butter Falcon. The Tax Collector. No, not Tax Collector. That was the one he was shooting the dogs for, I think. I got like the full real tattoo. He's a method. I don't like method actors, to be fair. And he's one of those, and that movie bombed. Imagine, like, full tattoo for a movie that is like universally agreed to be shite. That's just a permanent reminder of that. It's gotta suck. I'm not. Yeah. Yeah. Let me stop. This whole thing should just be like labeled "digging a hole," because I think for the entire 21 minutes of this, I've just basically started just digging, and the whole time I've just been digging and digging and digging. With every talk going over, just digging a deeper hole. And it's time. You know what? I'm buried now. I'm done. R.I.P. to me. On to day. What are we on now? 5? On to day 6 tomorrow.
With the kids, and I have like 3 kids, and the geezer was probably on like maximum 20 bags a year. Like the most boring bloke you'll ever meet. He was like,